Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to Fit of Philosophy, my channel on YouTube where I use my experience in life to share some practical Stoic based philosophy and to help you think about your own philosophy, your own Stoicism and your own life, because you can't beat experience, sharing experience. And it wasn't that long ago that you were relying on talking to older folks in the local bar, or perhaps if you were in a social club, you'd have more experienced people in, your group, whether it be football or train spotting or archery or hill walking or whatever, or cycling, who would kind of keep you right, who would share their experience to help you with your experience. But times have changed and the internet is a huge empowerer, and it's often considered that globalization is a negative thing because it's imposed from the top down by the global elite and they're all the bad guys. But it's not as simple as that. It is not as superficial as that. There is a globalization from the grassroots up, where people from all walks of life and all circumstances and situations and in all parts of the world can talk to one another, listen to one another through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. All sorts of options are out there, and increasingly they're morphing. They're not static. They've not set into some sort of concrete. Things are still changing and changing dramatically. And this sharing of information across all borders, which are far less relevant and significant than they used to be, they're really more for an administrative convenience than anything else. They're changing so many things, and this is and now in a position where a crusty old hack like myself, who's experienced a bit of life and seen quite a few things over the years, can talk to you about it, and perhaps you're going to get something out of it. And my topic is self-respect, the true importance and true value of self-respect. Now, we can define self-respect as, appreciating yourself, showing due deference to yourself, looking after yourself. But there's more than that. Self-respect is a core part of our self-identity and our worth in this life, in this world, in this reality. It really is quite substantial. And one of the best ways to start identifying your caliber of self-respect is with how you respect others and the world and the environment and everything around you, or around us. Because the more we damage our environment, the more we disrespect our environment, and the more we're disrespecting ourselves, the less respect we have for others, the less self-respect we're going to have for ourselves. And this is why you see many people who are fundamentally weak are the first to be violent, aggressive and abusive to those that they perceive as weaker than they are around them. The classic bully. It's always the case that the bully boy or bully girl or bully whatever is the one that will pick on others until they are picked on, or until their victim fights back. And then they tend to run off with their tail between their legs, particularly if they've been given a damn good kicking. You'll notice this particularly in youngsters. Youngsters have to experience things to get the experience purely as a point of immediate, tangible reference. So many kids at some point, they're going to do a bit of bullying just to see what it's like. And the more they impose it on another, the more they recognise that when it's imposed on them, it's all part and parcel of growing up. An important thing is those who are bullied is not to empower that bullying by taking it to heart and taking it too seriously. And never be afraid if someone is bullying you and you're a kid to give them a smack in the face. You might get a bit of a bashing, but particularly if you're physically weaker. But there's ways around it. You can be smart, you can be funny, you can form alliances, build up a gang, have some friends that are going to help you out when you get into trouble. And all this feeds into a certain level of self-respect. It becomes a point of reference. But as time goes on, people get used to it, say, well, there we are. You know, I respect others, I recycle, you know, I respect the world, I respect the planet. I properly dispose of my plastics that I've been using. But there's more to than that. Things get deeper, and the deeper you go, the more you experience on a greater level of meaningfulness. And this is something I really want to focus on in this, is self-respect is more than that. It is respecting ourselves by avoiding unnecessary stressors, by to a certain extent not conforming with social norms, not being your average routine consumer, not allowing yourself to go into debt. And if you are in debt with a mortgage, for example, make sure you pay off your debts before saving too much, because in terms of value, the less you owe, frankly, the richer you are. This is simply self-evident, and it becomes more and more transparent over time. And those who lack self-respect, they tend to be looking for props and crutches. This is why, frankly, a lot of people drive BMWs, because they're considered a sort of prestige car, even though they're not. They're just a standard, relatively unreliable mass production car. Of course, it depends which variety you get. It always does. But those who lack self-respect and respect for others, because it's always tied, they're always together. They're always tied together. Those who are insecure in themselves, they always show it to the outside world, and they're always very selective about the way they show it. Whether it be spending too much money in clothes, whether it be creating too much bling in their lives, the superficial, just following trends, being a victim of whatever they're encouraged to consume. So be a proactive, but be a very, I recommend as a consumer, you can have more self-respect if you're selective and particular and careful about what you consume. Quality of food is a classic example. Quality, you know, you're better a proper homemade meal, a nutritious meal at home, in peace and quiet, glass of wine, candle, some good company if you want it. Not necessary. And a quiet night in than a busy night out that just leaves you with a headache at the end of it, because basically the quality of cocaine you bought was inferior. There's plenty of people like that out there. Believe me, I've seen it. And it's not something that's a one-off. This kind of builds up over time, and self-respect is something that builds up over time. I've seen and observed young people who tend to have been written off as weak, who have connected with themselves, developed the self-respect, developed a greater respect for others, and as a direct result, because they know how to show respect to others, they find it easier connecting with quality individuals around them who are worth connecting with. A classic example, illustrating point, is when you're respecting others, because you understand self-respect, you're polite. You know how to say please. You know how to say thank you. And it's certainly the case that when you have self-respect, you see respectfulness in others. It's easier to identify quality human beings in society around you, to connect with them because you're being polite, to learn from them, to gain from them because of the time, the conversation, the connection, whether it be generalised, it could be a conversation at a table at a coffee shop with a complete stranger, in a bar with a complete stranger, or it could be that you're into martial arts or running or racing or motorbikes, so any sort of specialist thing where you connect with someone who has the knowledge and they impart that knowledge. And knowledge is gold dust. It really is. It's as precious as glittering stones. But only because this only happens, and it only happens better and works more effectively, when people understand, particularly at an early age, how to develop that inner calm and peacefulness that accompanies self-respect. To respect the body by not eating a load of junk and trashing your body, slouching in a couch, moronically zoned into some crappy TV program which means nothing to you. You're letting something else dictate your life, and it doesn't respect you, so you're not showing yourself self-respect. So the more you think about it, the more you connect with it. And there's always time to connect that a little bit more, that a little bit deeper. And as we go through life, our journey becomes more interesting, more substantial, more eventful, becomes better quality, because we understand that there's nothing superficial or passing or fleeting about self-respect. Self-respect is something very, very intense, real and tangible, and very, very important. So it's vital in our lives for better quality lives, which is what we should be striving for. To keep ourselves less than comfortable, less than complacent and overly secure, always looking out the way, using our positivity to connect with the positivity out there and letting it amplify from us and amplify from others to us. That's what self-respect is. It's something very, very valuable, and I encourage you to practice it every single day of your life. I'm Ralphie. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please click likey. Clickey. That's a click likey. It's one word. Click like. It's clickey. So clickey, subscribey, commenty, whatever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon for a little bit more fitter philosophy. I'm Ralphie. Over and out.